Chemical giant Monsanto is ordered to pay more than $250 million to a man who says their weed killer gave him cancer. It is a landmark decision and could very well be the first of many legal headaches to come for the company. Megan Roberts is on the story for us and joins us now. So tell us about what is a landmark decision, Megan.
This is the first lawsuit of its kind to be brought to trial, John, alleging that an ingredient used in these herbicides, glyphosate, causes cancer. Now, the man at the center of this lawsuit is named Dwayne Johnson. He used to work as a groundskeeper at a school, and he used some of Monsanto's products that had that ingredient, glyphosate, up to 30 times a year, and he argues that that ingredient caused his cancer. He was diagnosed in 2014 with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and his cancer is so severe that this case was actually fast-tracked. Now, his lawyer in court argued that Monsanto knew that glyphosate is dangerous, knew that some of their products could cause cancer, and they argued that they could prove that with documents they presented in court that were internal company documents from Monsanto. They also say that Monsanto repeatedly ignored experts' warnings as well as seeking out favorable scientific analysis. Now, Monsanto argued that glyphosate is safe, that their products have been on the market for decades, and that there are decades of research to back up the fact that this ingredient is safe. But ultimately, the jury did side with Johnson, ruling that Monsanto knew their herbicides were dangerous, failed to warn their customers. Jury ruled that the company acted with malice and that its herbicides contributed substantially to Johnson's cancer, and they ordered Monsanto to pay him $289 million US. Let's hear some reaction from both Johnson's lawyer as well as Monsanto.
This case was historic. Every major known human carcinogen had a moment like this, a moment when the science finally caught up, when they could no longer bury it, where people had to actually look at it and say, we have a problem. And this case is that moment.
Frankly, that shocked me. That's not who we are, and that's not what we did. And that will certainly be a very closely argued point on appeal.
So an appeal underway, but more legal troubles potentially ahead for the company, Megan.
That's right. There are actually more than 5,000 similar lawsuits across the United States. So Monsanto will have many days in court fighting those lawsuits as well. But there are broader implications to this because glyphosate is actually the world's most used herbicide, and the scientific community across the world has not come to a consensus about whether or not it is dangerous. Specifically, the World Health Organization stated in 2015 that it is probably carcinogenic to humans, while the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency said last year that they found, after years of research, that glyphosate is likely not carcinogenic to humans. So there's not a full consensus yet, and with all these lawsuits, I'm sure that we'll be discussing this ingredient for some time to come.